Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how much is enough when it comes to the emergency fund. Before we get into the video, go ahead and click on the subscription link, turn on notifications, stay up to date on everything when it comes to budgeting, personal finance. We are going to have it here. So got some interesting stats right here, guys. 29% of Americans have no emergency fund or no savings at all. That is right, guys, 29%. Think about that. Almost 30% of Americans have no savings fund whatsoever, no emergency savings. Essentially, 30% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Another 34% have some savings, but not enough to cover 3 full months of living expenses. What would happen if a vehicle broke down? What if there was an emergency repair? What if they needed money for something? They do not have the funds, such as a loss of a job. Now, again, this can be very detrimental, which is why we go through the budgeting plan, why we go through all of the checks and kind of balances that we do within creating a financial budget, making sure you have that emergency fund down. Once your debt is consolidated, building up 3 to 6 months of the emergency fund. If something does go wrong overnight, you go right back to borrowing and you go right back to the debt aspect that we've talked about before. If there is something that happens, again, I don't want you to go back to credit cards and start putting money on there. But you figure if there's no emergency fund, your bills will go unpaid, fees won't get paid. Even worse, it could end up essentially being in bankruptcy, anything of that nature, just because you didn't plan, which is the reason why I really stress planning, guys. Now, to start off, getting 3 to 6 months of that emergency fund, look at your budget that we've already created. Again, the 50-30-20 rule, looking at how much you need for housing, for debt, for food, utilities, transportation, things that are more of the essential needs. Can you do without cable, internet, gym memberships, maybe even a cell phone? Definitely an absolute possibility when it is a dire situation. But how much is enough, guys? Let's say your monthly expenditure is around $2,500. That means you should plan around $7,500 to $15,000. That $7,500, of course, being our 3 months of savings, our $15,000 being our 6 months of savings in expense. We've also talked about places to invest this, where if you are literally just going to have $7,500 to $15,000 of money liquid sitting, make sure, guys, you're getting a higher rate. Make sure you're getting a higher yield. Make sure that you keep it somewhat liquid, but you're still earning something, trying to fight off inflation, trying to fight off the cost of goods, consumer price index, things of that nature. So 3 months of savings could be enough, but definitely shooting for that 6 months. Once you get to that 6 months of savings, breaking it down. So what are the things that you really have to take into account when it comes to the 3 to 6 months of savings? Number one, being the economy. When the economy is doing really well, the money can sit there, nothing is really going on. But as you see prices continue to increase, even inflation in the United States, I believe, was 8.1%. The cost of gasoline is almost double what it used to be even months ago. The price of food is up about 50%, which again can have a tremendous impact on your budget, guys, which means the money has to come from somewhere. When you look at your paycheck, if you're making, $1,000 a month, whatever, $2,500, $4,000 a month, your paycheck cannot buy what it used to, which is the reason why the economy is in a big factor, and why I say always refer back to and look at your budget at least once a month, guys. When you're going through your statement, when you're making sure that everything is accurate, when you're figuring out your bills, make sure, again, you refer to that budget. If you budgeted $100 for electricity and all of a sudden last month you spent $300, what are you going to have to adjust to really make that work based on the usage or the cost that you're putting out? Now, number two, looking at your skill set. Some jobs are easy to find. Some are very difficult depending on the market. So if you happen to find yourself without an employment, what are the chances you're going to find the same job at the same rate you were, or a similar job at a higher rate? Definitely need, again, that 3 to 6 months of fallback until you do find gainful employment, going back to work. And also, guys, if you have fluctuating work, now this is a big thing that we're seeing coming about. Freelance, contract work, seasonal work, self-employment. If you use YouTube as your revenue, chances are you're going to have very high fluctuations depending, in the case of YouTube, the content you're creating. Also with freelance contract work, things of that nature are vastly affected by the economy. Where again, if a lot of people are paying for the cost of goods as they do increase, chances are the money is not going elsewhere, which is the reason why we'll see consumer spending drop a little bit. Or we'll see, in the case of the United States, guys, we've actually seen credit card debt, boom, goes through the roof. Last quarter, it was the highest, I believe they said it's been in 40 years, because essentially people are still living or buying the same things they were, but now the cost to buy it is a lot more expensive, meaning the money has to come from somewhere. They're not cutting things out of their life. They're using credit card debt to kind of offset their expenses and make up for the income that they might not have because of the cost of goods, which a lot of people, again, are in that exact same scenario where you have to go through the budget, guys. I really implore you, go back, watch the video, go through the budget, make a budget if you do not have one. It will really be, again, and I've said this before, between the two people, one, that you get to the end of the month and you wonder where all your money went, you have no clue, you have nothing left, or the second person when you get to the end of the month and you realize you still have a little bit of excess money, where exactly are you going to allocate it? Because you've built a budget, you've went through and you've really focused on exactly where every penny goes to, and not spending them on excessive things that you do not need, or a lot of things that fall into the want category. Even 50% of your budget looking at the needs. If you're less than 50%, great. You're living well with inside your means. You don't want the want category, which is another 30%, being 35, 40, 45, because essentially what most people do is it takes off of the 20%, which is the investment side, and it is also the debt repayment side. And again, that is the spot we do not want to touch. The needs, 50% again. The wants, 30%, 20% debt repayment, also to build up that savings using that 50, 30, 20 rule. So guys, important thing to remember is finance is not a marathon, it is a sprint. You want a long view, big picture of your savings, your financial, emergency fund. You definitely want to keep it. And the more that you plan, guys, like I had said before, the more that you do plan, the more that you are going to get out of life when it comes to financial, making sure your credit score is good, making sure everything is paid on time. You are in charge of your financial readiness and also making sure that everything is set. So guys, that'll do it for this video. How much is enough when it comes to the savings? Ultimately, guys, 3 to 6 months. After that, either one, you're going to start paying down your house, or two, you're going to start investing anything over that, which is awesome because you can build wealth, generate wealth outside of that emergency fund while still having that money set aside. So again, guys, that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.